Hello, Brian. This is Brian Rademacher from Rockeyez. This interview today is with Brian Jones, new lead singer, Lillian Axe. How you doing, Brian?
Hey Brian, how are you today, man?
Very good, very good. Uh,
Awesome.
Great. Tell me a little about your history before Full Moon Circus.
Oh wow, taking me back a bit. I'm trying not to reveal my age. All right, let's see. Just started playing music at a young age, around 11 or so, and um, and started playing guitar and really got into classical music and just at by the age of 15, I had a band and I was gigging. It's kind of funny. I used to have to get permission slips from my parents or whatnot to play play clubs and things of that nature because I wasn't 18 and I literally been on the road since I was 15 and then the biggest I guess cover band per se that I really had a lot of success with over a 10-year period was Full Moon Circus, and we played all over the southeast and eastern seaboard and played about 15 or 16 states and roughly 2,000 something shows and had a really good time with that. And then we decided to kind of go separate ways and started another band. And well, actually, your question was before Full Moon Circus. I'm sorry. So that's kind of what led up to Full Moon Circus. Just I started at a young age and I kept going and really enjoyed music, and that was I just found an affinity in that no other outlet provided. And my parents were really supportive and. As far as influences, Lillian it's very surreal now being in the band. But my father used to take me to see Lillian, of course, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. I would catch every single Lillian show, and luckily I had an awesome father. Still is an awesome father, and he was always into the music as well. So I met Steve at a very, very early age, and we kept in touch over the years. And so that's kind of the story before.
Right.
Full Moon Circus, and then once Full Moon Circus, I guess that's kind of when my professional career took off.
Cool, cool. But Full Moon Circus was named Best Cover Band, right?
Yes, we were couple of years. Yeah, several years. Once in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years running in Mississippi, and then in Florida, we had a couple of. We did write. We were more so a cover band, obviously, playing to fraternities and the different college bars and things of that nature around the southeast and like I said, the eastern seaboard. But we did write a couple of originals, and a couple were featured on ESPN on certain like the Best Damn Sports Show, and a couple other things that they used a couple of our tracks from. And they're still on sale, I think, at iTunes, and we put out an EP. But we mainly focused on at that point was just making money and providing for our families and things of that nature. It was we were never really partiers or anything of that nature. We just played music for fun and to make money and to make an honest living. So that's really kind of what catapulted my career. I started at 15, and I think I was in that band. I started that band around 20 when I was 20,
Wow.
and so and then we just stayed going, man. We just stayed that packed, and later on, of course, I got in a couple other bands, and I was lucky enough to get signed and to tour the country. But that comes later on, so I guess I'm jumping the gun on that. So.
That's okay. You also went to Guns of Addiction. That came after Full Moon Circus?
Yeah, the Guns of Addiction was it was basically I guess 2/4 of Full Moon Circus. It was my drummer and I kept Full Moon Circus, and we were the original band and the original founders of Full Moon Circus per se. So when the other two members went on, the drummer and I retained a new band, and we just kind of wanted to start from scratch. We kind of changed the set list, and again, primarily just concentrating on covers. We did write a few originals, but it was primarily a cover band. And I gotten back in touch with a mutual friend of Lillian's as well as mine that I've known for years, a gentleman by the name of Daryl Arnold, who played for Leif Garrett.
Cool.
He used to live in Jackson and moved out to L.A., and he played for Leif for about 6 or 7 years, and he was ready to come back to Mississippi, and it just kind of worked out. And we touched base with one another, got together and jammed, and it just felt right. And so he became our bass player, and then we got another player, and it just kind of solidified the lineup. And that's how Guns of Addiction was formed. And we stayed together, I guess, about a year. And, you know, as a side project, hypothetically, I still have that band. We just call it a different name, and it has a different bass player. But, you know, primarily I've been obviously focused on this album and the mini run that we did, you know, last year with Lillian and the few shows that we've done there since. That's where all my focus has been.
Cool. Now, to become the new lead singer for Lillian Axe, did you have to go through auditions, or how'd that work?
Yes, it was it was really funny. I was driving home from Alabama real late one night at a gig, and Steve and I talked on the telephone, and he was saying, "Hey, man, do you know any singers?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, me." And what's funny is Steve kind of says that, you know, he didn't really remember, and I think he got scatterbrained or something. Cause, I mean, you know, but I was primarily known as a guitar player.
Right.
But you know, Steve being in Louisiana and my being in Mississippi, him staying busy, or his staying busy all the time, and I'm staying busy all the time. So he never really got to see us or whatnot. But I was actually the singer and the guitar player in that band, in Full Moon Circus as well as Guns of Addiction. And so I just kind of threw my name out there, just having fun, and he sent me some stuff over, and it just went from there. And it was a long, grueling 9 months, I want to say. And I know they interviewed some really, really good singers, some prolific and pretty well-known names in the business. And so it was very nerve-wracking from that standpoint. Again, I had been signed and toured with some very big bands and had some success with other bands. So that part, it was still intimidating, being that I was going against you know, some well-known singers, and I didn't want to disappoint myself or disappoint Steve and those guys. So I really worked hard to get in there. And, you know, luckily, I guess to my advantage, a lot of these guys, they may have been familiar with Lillian, but Lillian was literally like my lifeblood when I was a child, all the way growing up. I never stopped listening to them, and I followed them religiously, you know, even up until the point I became the singer.
Cool.
So I think that may have played an advantage in the sense that I really didn't have to rehearse as much. You know, I knew the lyrics. I kind of knew how Ron and Derek and others had sang, and you know, I wanted to bring my own style, but at the same time, you know, you kind of not necessarily emulate, but you want to kind of keep the integrity of the original composition or whatnot. So, but yes, I did audition. You know, there was no friendship or anything involved. It was strictly business, and it was a long, tedious process, man. It was very, very nerve-wracking. I remember many sleepless nights, you know.
Wow. What songs did he make you sing? Or did you get to pick?
Oh,
or
wow. Oh, wow. No, I didn't get to pick. What songs did I do? I did, of course, I did Misery Loves Company. I did Show a Little Love. I did True Believer. Dream of a Lifetime. From the Love and War record, I did All Fair and Love and War. World Stop Turning. Ghost of Winter. Then from, what else? Deep Red Shadows, I did 47 Ways to Die and The Quenching of Human Life.
Cool. That's a lot of songs.
Yeah, well, there's more. I'm just, this is off the top of my head, off the cuff. I'm trying to think. You know, yeah, that's enough. But yeah, there are actually more. I mean, like I said, it was a long process, and it wasn't a one-day thing. You know, I did it. I think I went through 3.
Wow.
Or maybe 2.
Uh-huh.
2. But I know it was at least 2.
So does Steve make comments through each song, or how's that work?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, he does. He's like, you know, because at times I was the way he would talk to me, I was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. He's talking to me as if I'm already in the band, and of course, he was just giving me pointers on certain diction and the way it should be sang, and you know, going up here, going down there, you know, things of that nature. But at times I'd catch myself, you know, thinking, yeah, well, he's talking to me, so I must have it. But I was, you know, that was the furthest thing from how it really was. You know, it was so it was a long process. And but yeah, he did give me pointers and things of that nature during the rehearsals. And it was mainly just Steve and I, you know, conversating back and forth in terms of, you know, what he thought I could do better, or what he thought I did really well on, and things of that nature.
Cool, cool. How is he as a person?
Oh, Steve, he's a
Yes,
sweetheart, man.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve's a sweetheart. He's very humble. Always has been. You know, when I met him, I think I officially met him when I was 12, and you know, that's a long, long, long time ago. And he was always very gracious because, you know, looking back, I have children now, and I have all girls, so you can imagine the estrogen level in my home. I'm not going to get off the subject, but I have all girls, all under the age of 5. So I have 3 young daughters and a beautiful wife, and you know, I can imagine a 12-year-old, you know, coming up to me after every show and just, you know, asking this question, asking that question, asking this, you know, and you always want to be, you know, as professional and very graceful and very nice to fans, especially, you know, kids and teenagers and whatnot. But I could imagine that I was probably a pest, you know, because I was just that little kid that asked every single question after every show. And
Right.
my memories of Steve as a youngster, when I was a lad or whatnot, is that he was always very graceful and took the time and sat around with my father and I, and we talked. You know, we talked for minutes on end, man. And then, of course, I mean, there was tons of people around, you know, so he really took the time with me, and I just always remembered that as having a really big impact in terms of my looking up to him as a role model and also as a guitar player. You know, his guitar playing obviously speaks for itself, but you know, he was up there, you know, to me with, you know, with Yngwie or you know, some of my other influences of Steve Vai or Satriani, and people like that, you know, and later on John Petrucci, people just, you know, all the amazing great guitar players. And I mean, to me, he was the same to you know, in my mind, to those guitar players. And having a kinship and a friendship starting at a very, very early age, more I should say, more of an acquaintance in Steve, really just paved the way for mine making a lot of decisions and doing a lot of things I did in music. But he's a very humble person. He's a sweetheart. I mean, and I can't say enough about him. He's just a very thoughtful, kind person, and he will not do anything half-assed, man. He does everything to the best of his ability, and if it's not 100%, you know, we don't do it. So he's got that mindset. He's a very hard worker, great family man. It's amazing with his family. He's just a good person all around, man. It's just so much more than just people, you know, unless they really know him. There's a lot more to him than being a rock star per se. You know, he doesn't really live that lifestyle at all. Doesn't carry himself that way, and doesn't have that persona. He's just
Cool.
He's a really, really down to earth person.
Tell me about the new album.
I'm really excited about the new album. It was again hard work. We worked many nights, late nights. My driving back and forth to Covington, Louisiana, at the Sound Landing Studios, where we recorded the album with Rob Hovey, and eventually it was, you know, later mixed by Sylvia Massey, you know, who has accolades under her name. But at any rate, it was a long process. Steve would bring the ideas to the band, and everything would just be formed around that. Obviously, Steve was the chief songwriter in the band, and always has been, and the music's great. I think it's very unique. It's different than any other Lillian record that I've heard, and that's taking myself out of the equation, not saying that in a biased manner.
Right.
It doesn't sound like any other Lillian to me. If I had to choose similarities, I would choose maybe Psychoschizophrenia as a similarity.
Right.
But it's very melodic. It's very melodic. It's dark in certain places, but it has an innocence to it, if that makes any sense. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun from a first-time or an outsider's perspective, being able to record a major, you know, a full-length major record debut, and that was just a lot of fun for me. And I'm really excited, and I think the fans are going to love the music. And thus far, from what, you know, everything we've read and what we've heard from fans that have written us and whatnot, they're really receptive to it, and they really like the music. And And at the end of the day, that's what matters, you know. And I think it's going to be a really, really awesome year.
Right,
It's
right.
going to go really well. So the album, to answer your question, was a very hard process, man. We really worked hard, no stone unturned, and we went in there and knew what we had to do, and really wanted to kind of take Lillian to another level again, I guess, with having a new singer and things of that nature. There are a lot of things that are going to be expected from fans, and so we knew that going in, and we tried to combat each thing that may come our way as we went, and I think we did a very good job of doing that.
Great, great. What's the release date? What date?
In the United States, the release date is the February 14th, so of course that's Valentine's Day. In the UK, I believe it's the 27th of January.
Cool, cool.
Okay, in Europe, and then in Japan is February 13th.
Right, right. The first, I guess, single is "Take the Bullet." What's your feelings on that song?
I love that song. We did that actually. That's funny because that was the first song that I got to record with Steve and those guys, and I think we did that back in April. No, actually, that was, around February is when that song was mastered and done. And we did a 7 or 8 day run in April and early May, and then later on in August. And we introduced that song to fans, and all the fans loved it and were very receptive. And soon after its release, of course, it went out on iTunes and has sold pretty well. In terms of the song, the meaning behind the song, it's an awesome story. Steve wrote that song based on the, just the afflictions and everything that soldiers go through. But at the same time, at the end of the day, they're a brotherhood, and they love what they do, and they know what they're there for. And the song was written that basically, to my knowledge, and I don't want to screw this story up, but a gentleman by the name of General David Petraeus, you can look him up. He was head of the entire U.S. military operations in Afghanistan.
Right.
And a lot of his squadron or what have you under him were huge Lillian Axe fans, and had written to Steve and sent Steve some things, really neat things, like an American flag that was actually signed by General David Petraeus. He would be the equivalent of if like a General Norman Sourcecloth from the first first war in 1991. So he's high up, and he liked Lillian Axe as well. And so this was an older gentleman that's a very declarated war general, and we just thought that was really cool. And at any rate, he and Steve touched base somehow, and they even did an operation one day, like a tactical practice run or something of that nature, and called it Operation Lillian or something of that nature. And so that's kind of what inspired Steve to write that song. And
cool.
I hope I didn't butcher the story. It's got a really, like I said, David Petraeus is a very, very respectable and declarated, war hero per se. And so that's where that story came from. And
great.
So.
Wow. So what are your hopes and wishes for this album?
Well, obviously, I hope it does well. I hope
Right.
it sells good, and I hope everyone likes it. I knew going into it, going against. I don't look at it as going against. I just kind of bring my own sound to it. I think I do very well with bringing a new aspect to the band, because there are certain similarities with Ron and I, as well as Derek and I, but I try to just bring my own style and just be me.
Great.
If I got caught up in trying to be Ron or to be Derek, or I'm gonna let myself down, more than likely, as well as other people, because you always have to, at the end of the day, be proud of yourself and be you, and that's what I really concentrated on doing. And my hopes for this album is that the fans are very, receptible to it, very receptive, and that they love the album, and they come to all the shows and just spread the word and kind of help Lillian get back to the days of old per se. And Lillian, as a fan, I can say this before joining the band, Lillian never got their proper due, and I will stick by that to the day, to the end of time. If you compare them back to the bands when they came out, the same bands that were coming out at the same time, and I am saying this from a biased manner now because I'm in the band, but I would say that I've said this for years, well before being in the band. Steve's playing, I would put against anyone else. Musicianship, same way with the other guys in the band, both past as well as present. I think technically sound, they were better than 90% of the bands out there that had commercial success, just due to record labels and just the crap that goes along with the music industry from time to time. They didn't get the proper push they deserve. And Steve's an amazing songwriter, and he's proved that time and time again. And this is the 11th album, and he'll, when people hear it, it'll be proven again. So I think the album is going to do really well. I have a great feeling about it. I know we really, really worked hard on it, and at the end of the day, all of the guys are very proud of the record, and we hope that it does really well, and we're going to get out there and push it hard and do well with all of our shows. We're known for our live shows, and we're just really excited to bring this to the Lillian Axe fans, man. I know they've waited a long time, and including myself, so we're really excited about it, and I think it's going to have a great, great, great response.
Well, I thank you very much for the talk, and congratulations. I love the single.
No, thank you, Brian.
Would you like to say anything in ending?
Definitely, man. If for all of you guys listening or reading this, thank you for your support. Obviously, over the years, I too was once in your shoes. I'm a huge Lillian Axe fan, and I'll always be a fan before I'm a bandmate, and that's kind of been the running joke since I joined the band. But I think you guys are going to love the album, man, and I hope you'll go out and pick it up on the release date, which is February 14th. If you're in the southern states, or around the New Orleans, Louisiana area, please come to our CD release party, man. This is something that's kind of unheard of. No other bands really do this, and we are having a release party, but it's free. Now, of course, there are limited space due to fire marshal constraints and things of that nature, but you can go online. I believe it's ticketweb.com. Type in Lillian Axe, and you can go ahead and print out your tickets. That way you'll have a secured spot. We're going to be doing live DVD filming that evening, something that Lillian's never done before. We're going to be giving out all kinds of cool little gadgets and trinkets and whatnot, and it's going to be an awesome night, and that night is February 4th. It's a Saturday, February 4th, and that takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Howlin' Wolf. There are two locations. This location, I believe, is the location there in the quarter on St. Peter, if I'm not mistaken, but all of the information is contained therein on the website that I mentioned, which is www.ticketweb.com. And again, just if you can, guys, I'd appreciate it, man. Just have an open mind, listen to it, love it, play it loud, and enjoy it, man. We really enjoyed it, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Hey, Brian, take care, and thanks for your time, man. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.